This is a sculpture of Saint Scholastica, the sister of Saint Benedict. And when I first started working on the idea of Saint Scholastica, what I wanted to do was to create a sculpture that really is filled with meaning and excitement. Instead of her just standing straight, looking straight ahead with a pleasant smile on her face, I researched a lot of her life stories and the legends attributed with her. One of the most popular legends about Saint Scholastica is that she was having a conversation with Saint Benedict, and it was one of the most phenomenal, amazing spiritual conversations they've had, and it was getting so late that Saint Benedict wanted to depart and leave company, and Saint Scholastica said, "Oh, stay." Saint Benedict, as he was about to depart, a huge storm came down, making it impossible for anyone to move. And at that point, Saint Benedict believed that it was God preventing him from leaving this amazing spiritual conversation. So consequently, they spent the whole night talking. So here I have Saint Scholastica, who happens to be the patron saint of rain, waiting there with her hand out, feeling the raindrops. Symbolic of this wonderful evening the brother and sister spent together, with the hand out, feeling for the imaginary raindrops that are dropping down here. And right over here on her other hand, it's also, in her other hand, is filled with symbolism too, because 3 days after this amazing spiritual conversation which God retained with the huge rainstorms, 3 days later, Saint Scholastica passed away, and Saint Benedict witnessed her soul transforming into a spiritual dove that soared off up to heaven. So here she is on her other hand holding the symbol, the emblem of her soul, waiting to fly to ascend to heaven here. And so although this has a lot of symbols and a lot of legend worked within it, weaved within the piece, I also have a lot of realism. Saint Scholastica, at the latter half, or right before she passed away, was not very, very young like a lot of artists have represented her in the past. She was in her 60s. So what I've done here was I created a woman with a face that's elderly and very, very realistic. Although you have this great legend, not only is the face realistic, but also the hands are rough. They're not perfect, they're not idealized, and the drapery is in a very rough, raw state in many respects. So when someone comes up to this piece, they'll be really confronted with a figure which is life-size, which looks extremely realistic in many respects, holding the actual symbols and the stories of her life. And that's not new. Most of the artwork from the Renaissance used a lot of symbols to actually create a story. And so I'm happy with this piece because I do believe it tells a little bit about the story of Saint Scholastica. And maybe most people would not actually know these stories about the hand and the dove, but at least it's a curiosity. And once they investigate in the history of this saint, who's I think more than 1,500 years old, they'll learn the richness of the Catholic stories about this saint, and so it's basically carrying a piece of artwork like this carries the traditions of the Catholic Church into the new generations. And so what I've done here was I've created a very realistic woman, one that's life-size, holding the symbol with a hand out, showing her patronage, the patron saint of rain, with also very, very beautiful lines in it. The intricacy in the forms of the drapery you'll see really makes the piece very, very exciting as just an art piece too. Probably you wouldn't have, probably you wouldn't have drapery going like that in real life, but I animated it up to kind of breathe life into it. Although the texture is very realistic, what I have here is the striations that are pulling in life, almost as if each little part of the piece could be considered some sort of very interesting depiction of forms that are filled with striations and life. And even the feet of the piece are big feet of some woman that was not sitting at a chair all day. I have her without any feet on. I have her, everything about her looking really down to earth and earthly, because this is the sister of Saint Benedict, the patron saint of farmers. There's an association with this saint to labor and working close to the land. And so I think that when people see the piece, they'll see that the saint is very real in many respects and is tangible into their own lives there. And so I was really happy about it. Also, I love getting the expressions on her face. No one necessarily knows how Saint Scholastica looked like, but I took actually a 16-year-old girl model that posed for it because she had the perfect features for this piece. And then what I did was I created wrinkles and striations and even more character on the actual model's face that I was using for this to reveal an expression that I'm very, very happy with. You can see there, she's looking down almost contemplatively in her hand, and there is, you can see her teeth being exposed a little bit, her mouth parted, and she looks like she has character, she has distinct character, and her nose is very unique, and it captures some sort of human features that will make the viewer realize that these saints are humans like ourselves, and we can strive to be similar to them. So they become really role models, and they become really, guides for us. And I think that artwork, good artwork, has that possibility, and I do believe that this distinct, specific piece will make people see the saint and hence see their religion in a way that's very, very real.